Okay. Is this going to work right now? We will test it now, soon. Am I hearing an echo? Let's see. YouTube. Jeffrey, what did you do? What did you do? Did you do something? Did you mess up? Did you mess up? Huh? No? Did you? No? Weird. Let's go to live. Oh no. Okay guys, I'm back. Can you hear me now? Oh my god, that was like so super bizarre. Can't hear anything. Morning. Okay, so let's try. It's all good now? Okay, good. That was like prankster Uranus doing it. And look, I know who actually fixed it. I think she fixed it and she just came here and it's like, oh my gosh, I did it. You hear nothing? Can you guys hear me? Tell me yes, tell me no, tell me something that you can hear. Okay, let me see. Can hear, but lots of voices. No, it was lots of voices. Okay, hear you perfectly. Okay guys, if you have this echo that has happened, just tune out and tune back in. Okay, good. I think it is working. So guys, tell me where you're from, what you're doing right now, and what sign you are. So let's start with that. Savi, what did you do to the computer? Okay. Yes, refresh page. I think this is what it was. It was like something really weird. Okay guys, switch phones, refresh page. I don't know what happened. I didn't even touch anything. I didn't fix anything. You are like me, Sally. We would be the best friends if we live close by. What's up, Safi? Where did you go? Where are you going? Where are you going? Huh? You messed up and now you're leaving. That's great. Puerto Rico. Okay, awesome. Okay, there you go, Dion. Glad. Hey, Australia. You're in your jammies having a coffee in the middle of the night? Well, as long as like we have the coffee date. Awesome. Looks like, you know, we should have a cat tarot coffee date. I'm going to call it that way. LA, look at you. I have Tawny. I start my day. I have some kind of like a new thing that I bought for my kitties that kind of has the feathers on the bottom. And I have to start and finish the day with this chasing, and they love to do it on bed because when they flop down, they flop in kind of like very kind of like soft things. Okay, Maine, USA, England. Hi, Abs. Nice to hear you. Nice to see from you. So we have few people over here already. So I'm wondering if we should do the same thing as usual. Do you guys like your weeklies? What do you mean I have no function with connection? That's cute. Cute, Dion. My cat. Yeah, that's pretty much what they do with a cat stick. It's just like, oh my gosh, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine, and then chasing around. It's like they like it actually better than their laser toy. Capricorn from Canada. Hi, Canada. Oh, Canada. I have my coffee. Okay, so let's do the weeklies then, since you want. I kind of like figure today we are going to do Gilded, and we are going to clarify it with Gypsy. And let's kind of go with the flow. Let's see what happens. So also guys, just to give you a little heads up, I will be doing my school. I think the next round is going to be end of August. So if you guys need payments, then it's maybe a good time to start now, so kind of like everything is done by then. Okay, look at this. We love Gypsy cards. I didn't do Gypsy in a while, so I kind of like missed it. I got the new deck yesterday, Syrian Starseed deck. It's kind of interesting. I'll show you. But it's huge. It's enormous. So I still have to figure out the meanings. Look at the size of this deck. Like, I don't even know how to can't even reach it. And my hands are sort of like medium, they're not even small, but it's kind of like a cute deck. Probably would be very appealing to Aquarians. So that's why I have to figure out if this is kind of like good for public use. I didn't expect it to be this huge. I don't even know if I have time, space on my table with this. So let's go with this one. Okay, so Taurus. Did you guys see what's happening? I've told you in my new moon and Uranus in Taurus, we have the eruption in Hawaii, we have Ebola outbreak, like shooting in Texas. I'm so sorry. And it's just like hell is breaking loose right now. So this is what can happen with Uranus, because you are walking like just like this what happened this morning. This is kind of like on a small level. So let's do it. Hi in the Netherlands, Aquarius as well. You also have lots of small hands. I know, like, it's just like I was trying yesterday, so I was doing this with those cards, because you have to mix them, otherwise kind of like it's kind of weird. So who is first? Since Gemini is starting, I think, in a few days, right? On the 21st. Let's start with air today first. Yeah, air. Air. Oh, look at this. I see I see a card stuck here. And I would kill myself looking for it if I were to do spread with this. Sheesh. I would kind of, with my obsessive compulsive, I would really have to clean everything and figure everything out. So there you go. So, air for the upcoming week. Air, good morning from Australia. Air is getting messages. So we have 10 of Swords, 7 of Pentacles reversed, King of Swords reversed, and the Magician reversed. Yeah, I'm taking this out. I'm taking this out. Just I was like debating for a second if I should do it. I'm going to do the cutting, so that way I know it is. That's kind of looks. Anyway, what this kind of meant was some kind of like sharp insight, and maybe even convincing ourselves that something, you know, is okay when it shouldn't be okay. The Magician reversed is Gemini, but it is a bad Gemini when it shows up, so I kind of like do not like that. So air. So we have 7 of Wands, 4 of Swords, the Devil, ugh, the World, Queen of Pentacles, and 9 of Swords. Well, same crap, if you really ask me. So it's good and it's bad. I think air is going to be facing some stuff. Of course, we are going through Gemini transit. We are going to be going through air transit. So it's going to be really interesting. 7 of Wands means, look, and 4 of Swords. I kind of like, I'm tired of battling with people, and I just like need to take some rest, even if this means I just want to forget all my problems right now. It could be some kind of like self-indulgence over here, because the Devil generally talks about codependency. It means longing for something we cannot have, somebody not giving us, somebody not fulfilling our needs. It definitely talks about third parties, about partners who maybe have somebody else pulling the strings, such as exes. But the World is a very promising card. Like something is pushing us to move to the next level. Something is really pushing us to kind of like go forward. But I think from what I see, we might be upset about how we look alike, because Queen of Pentacles reversed can be kind of like very vain, and definitely this is like self-image that kind of gets affected over here, and maybe we are going to get upset about it. But usually when 9 of Swords reverses, like we actually do something about this, right? So let me just get a few clarifier, and then actually I want we are getting consolation. So kind of like it's saying keep going, just like the world. World is like actually a really beautiful card. And from the air signs, it includes actually Aquarius. The world actually means coming to the next stage. Kind of, well, that makes sense. And the tower, I don't know. Maybe there was a situation for quite a while brewing, and that's what I kind of like saw in the air readings. That is kind of like coming to an end. It's kind of like maybe going to come to an end through basically sheer physical approach to something. And that kind of like what does say, sort of like something unexpected would kind of like come out of it. Consolation means, look, there's this angel coming with power, with money, things are turning around. This also could mean, because they're like, I mean, 3 earth cards and 2 swords cards over here, that we are kind of trying to ground ourselves, and maybe career is important, maybe our well-being is important in the situation. So let me grab one more deck over here. Okay, let's grab this one. Radiant Rider White. Oops, this coffee almost like ended up on the floor. Okay, I have to remove it. It's not for the children. So, guys, please make sure you like this. Kind of like that helps. So now we are going side by side. So happy birthday, Geminis. Oops. And now you're getting a whole bunch. So I'm going to take it because it is your birthday. Otherwise, I would just take one card. You have 2 of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. So continuing with this theme, Ace of Pentacles, the Hangman. These are all earth signs. They're all earth cards. 2 Wands, Queen of Swords, and 9 of Wands. Okay, guys, maybe you have earth sign coming or fire sign, but there is like a lots of story here. Storyline is, how do I rebuild? Maybe you guys came from a relationship that had some kind of cheating, that maybe somebody was married, or you know, maybe you really wanted to restart this and move this forward. This is saying to me that the lesson hasn't been learned, that there is like still something that kind of like has to come back to kind of like be washed out, and you're going to do that successfully. You are kind of like going to get this like newfound ability to move forward. It's kind of like coming to terms with something, because the Hangman is like sort of like learning from internal perspective, which kind of like is still not happening. Let me clarify that for you. Let me clarify. Oops. Clarify. And the sorrow is reversed. Yeah, I think, you know what, if you guys have been feeling sorry over something, if that was a lingering kind of like emotion underneath, because I see that here in 9 of Swords. 9 of Swords is less of a sorrow, more like, I am so upset about everything that is going on in my life. And let me just put this more down. And that kind of can link this theme. I think this is kind of the end of this. I think understanding that something or somebody was like very unhealthy is going to be the key. That is kind of like, because this is the opposite. The Sagittarians are usually the opposite. It's the same axis, but it's the opposite of Gemini. And I think it's simply coming to an end. It's kind of like feeling completely newfound, kind of like way out. But not before going deep. First kind of like sinking deep and then coming out. So Gemini, good for you. I guess you're starting your birthday with a big bang. Who's next? Libra. Ooh. 7 of Wands. It's kind of interesting because we have it here as well. 7 of Wands reversed and 7 of Wands upright, and kind of like would make so much sense for Libra, right? Like, I mean, kind of always weighing 2 different sides of the story, some kind of balance. I guess you guys maybe have been through a situation it's kind of interesting. In this deck, this dude is kind of like almost like surprised. In the other decks, he's angry, right? So this is actually much a better rendition. And here in this deck, he is like actually very confident about what he's doing. So being the 701 generally means kind of like being kind of faced with an opposition and kind of like standing and holding your ground, knowing what you want, where you are going, where this one means giving up. So of course, you Libra, you always kind of like look in these two different side of the story. So I think you're kind of going to resolve the situation, whatever it is, about moving forward with saying, okay, you know what, I have been letting you walk all over me, or maybe, you know, I have been letting you kind of like have your way, but it's kind of enough. I kind of like, we have to kind of like start somewhere more kind of like productively, and I think this is what's going to happen. This also could mean that some of you guys here had very kind of like, let's say, sexual relationship, that maybe it's either going to be make it or break it, because with and that goes for all air signs, because from the devil to the world definitely means kind of like washing certain things off, kind of like resolving it. And Aquarius, let's see, Aquarians, and there we go. Look at this, we are getting the star reversed. Aquarians, what kind of healing still needs to take place? There is like because like it came out like this and then it flipped. So maybe Aquarians are thinking that, you know, like, I mean, there is like this new kind of a start, as I can see it over here, but again, there are like still issues that are pertaining to some kind of, let's say, hope, or losing hope over something or somebody. I think this kind of like signifies to me kind of like waiting. Let me also see, and I'm sorry to be mixed up, let me also check the 7 of Wands here for Libra. And we have haughtiness and we have scholar reversed. Am I kind of, this basically talks about vanity, and this kind of goes back to that Queen of Pentacles, right? When it's reversed, it talks about somebody, you know, I have these people coming on channel, they kind of like take what they want, they listen to it, and then the comment would be bullshit, oh, F you, or not too often, but like, I mean, it happens, you know, there's like one person right now going around and making sure that she clicks on thumbs down, or that she kind of reports video. But you know, this kind of like would describe the kind of a person who is like very unhappy inside. And also scholar would be a really good card upright. When it reverses, it talks about you're not thinking that through, and maybe for you Libra, this is going to be a knee-jerk reaction. Maybe you're dealing with someone, maybe it was something physical, maybe somebody was telling you, I'm so freaking hot, and you know, you want a piece of me, and you maybe you're just telling them, you know, dude or lady, you know, that's very nice, but you know, if you're presenting yourself that way, then you have no essence, and I'm an air sign, I need to see that you kind of like have a little bit more than that. And let's see this star reverse. What is there for Aquas? Why is this star reversing? We have thought. Of course, air signs have thoughts, except the Gemini, who is kind of like getting out of basically dumps for sure. So he had a scholar here. Then we have a thought. Then we have despair reversed, and then we have money. So I think, because I did see this Earth, I think Aquarian in particular, they are thinking about more or less kind of like career and money on their mind. Maybe there is like a glitch, or kind of like figuring out how to move forward. Maybe there is a pinch in a pocket. If it isn't, this definitely talks about secrets, and talks about kind of like losing a connection with somebody or something, where, you know, there was the hope of kind of like moving forward. There is like this wash machine brain card here, where I feel there is like the circulation of same thoughts, regurgitating the same ideas, and not being able to open it up and release it to the world. Like, see, like all the swords are going inside, kind of like healing is needed and wisdom is needed over here. So that would be air, guys. So it's kind of interesting. The air is kind of like getting air is getting clarity in the situation over here. And actually this card was also here probably for Aquarians. Service reversed means something doesn't serve Aquarians well. It is kind of like really important to kind of figure it out what it is, not to kind of continue with the same process all over again. Let me just mix them up. Let me see. Cut the cycle. Yes, Lottie, that's kind of pretty much it is, because that's the world is really not karma card, but it's very close with having those fixed signs, and sometimes the fixedness that we experience kind of cost us badly, right? And this is kind of exactly what needs to be remedied. Okay, Kimberly, fire. Let's do the fire, since you really knew when to edge it. Okay, fire. Fire. Did it ages ago, because I need to leave the past behind. I know, I keep seeing that. It's a recurring theme. There are like few signs that are really kind of coming through Aquarians with the same theme. Aquarians, Sagittarians, Scorpios, and Aries. It keeps coming through that. And Leos also have something lingering. And I really kind of like, it's kind of weird that usually, you know, you have an affair or relationship and things go bad and you just get over it. But this kind of like something happened that kind of hooked us really very much. So, leave our behinds in our past. It's cute. So fire. You're getting 8 of Swords as a jumper, so I'm not going to be taking jumper today's. 8 of Swords reversed is actually not a bad card, because here is talking about fear. It is talking about denial. It is talking about I don't know, like, I mean, who I am. I don't know if I can even ever get there. It's kind of like losing it and just like feeling frozen with fear. When this reverses is better, because it talks about, okay, I see where my inaction cost me. You fire signs, you need that action. If you don't have that action, you're like, oh my god, right? Like, I mean, I am not fire. Like, there is like fire extinguished. Like, you feel like not any kind of sense of yourself. So there is like understanding that something was constraining you and kind of like coming out of it, right? So it's kind of important. So let's see. Fire 4 from the 19th. Again, messages. 10 of Wands, 3 of Cups reversed, and 4 of Wands. Something got really too hard. Something you're carrying, it's kind of becoming a burden. Something you have can break your back. This also can talk about secrets. The 3 of Cups, it's generally like the happiest card when it's like the upright, but it is reversed. It talks about either friendship going bad, or it can talk about a third party, or maybe carrying something that contains some kind of like secrets, but still kind of like moving forward nonetheless. So we'll see how this comes through. Is it Raquel a third party? It's kind of interesting. Hi Tarot, crayon box tarot. That's super cute. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Fire. Oh my gosh. Something about family. Oh my gosh, look at this. I should just like do this, and this is it, that's for you, fire. This is such a lovely message. 10 of Cups, 2 of Cups. Like, really, you're going to have, in spite of all this hard, and that's why I guess you're continuing, it is like one of those things. Do you really want to be right, or do you want to be happy? And I think you guys are choosing to be happy. I really like the bumblebee in this particular card. I saw this like thing that I posted on my Facebook, a woman who had actually bee as her pet. It was spectacular. The bee would actually sleep on her palm. And this is the soulmate card, guys. There is like kind of like essence of love that is going to be really, really important over here in this period. This is actually really lovely. Hello, LA. Hello, fire. Okay, fire and fire. So we have Justice, lovely. Karma card, the Hangman reversed, 2 majors. Ooh, Ace of Cups, fire. You are so, oh my gosh, Ace of Pentacles. Oh my gosh, King of Cups. Oh my gosh, it's spectacular. You guys kind of like, let me just give you the bets. Fire is on fire, so true. This is like so weird. Okay, so let me give you bad news, and then I'm going to give you good news. It's like 1 bad news and 5 really good. So the Hangman reversed. Again, we see you have this kind of like Wheel of Fortune. There is like some kind of like usually sacrifice that needs to be done. Usually sacrifices are done because something happens at the end of the road, right? You sacrifice 4 years of your life going to university because you're going to have a better job. You're going to feel, you know, different in the position. It kind of has to be something at the end of the road. If you're sacrificing for no reason, or if you're not learning the lesson of the sacrifice, then things don't make sense. And then you're suggesting and sending those vibes to the universe. Oh, I'm just a mortar and doormat and just poop on me. That kind of like can be a part of this week. But you are doing this because you're feeling fantastic. Things are falling in balance. If you guys are having a relationship, then it's going to be new and loving, and it's going to look like this is everything going to work out long term. And King of Cups is like that quiet love. It is like really loving feeling of somebody who kind of really gets you. And look, we have a King of Pentacles. For those of you who are married, it's going to be also probably really good connection with your loved ones and with your husband in particular, or a wife. And lastly, you have the World. Something is resolving so well for you. You're kind of like sort of like being told by the universe, hey, you have resolved something. You have kind of like put things in this balance, but there is like still a lesson that you need to learn and kind of like move forward. I always consider aces, I know they're not major arcanas. You have 3 major arcanas, exactly half of this reading. But I consider aces sort of like bridges, sort of like half major arcana. So this is kind of going to be a very important week. It's going to be emotionally extremely fulfilling, extremely. So guys, really enjoy it. What can I tell you? This is absolutely lovely what you'll be experiencing. So let's go. Maybe sub messages, and keep in mind that now when I do the individual sign, this is just in addition to this. This kind of like still stands. Fortunately or unfortunately. Yeah, it looks like a cat party would be so awesome. I think they did have the cat cafe in Toronto. Actually never went there because I think my cats would be jealous, but I don't think it kind of like lasted. Okay, Aries. 9 of Cups reversed. What? Aries wants to go solo. Aries doesn't want to go solo. Let me see, what is this? Because I don't like this dude in this deck, because look at him. Well, I'm so good on my own, just leave me all alone, and everything has to come to this person. Some people call this a wish card. I never seen that as wish card, because everything that this person accomplished and feeling is kind of behind. Mind you, it was the 10 of Cups that was jumping out, and there is like one Ace of Cups. So it kind of would make sense that something is going in the next stage. It's kind of really weird. One day everything is so loving and great in a relationship. Hi, my turquoise. And another day, I'm going to also make you a mod. Let me see, how do I do that? And then another day there is like, again, arguments, etc. So I guess I see here, because you had also King of Pentacles and King of Cups, kind of like King of Pentacles looming underneath. It does feel that you have lots of energy where you're kind of acquiring some wisdom. So I think you guys really want to go deeper than this reading. You really kind of like want to figure out what makes you tick, and in which situations you need to be left alone, and in which situation you kind of like have to kind of like submit yourself to the experience and to the flow of life. The Hermit is a very important card. This guy's on the top of the mountain, and the mountain talks about challenge. The mountain talks about you know, conquering our own things, realizing, kind of like almost like a big picture, right? Like it's after a long search, there is like finally something that we kind of like reach, and seeing that light and turning the light in us. You know, it's like that one day when you feel, oh gosh, I really kind of like succeeded. So it's actually a really good card, and it is something in relations. To me, the Queen of Pentacles is always a wife card. It's always a relationship card. So it is almost like knowing yourself before, you know, like, I mean, coming out to the other person and saying what you think and what you need, which is kind of really good, because most of us really blurt out things and then we cannot take it back. So then you have to undo it and do it and do it forever. So that was Aries. Let's see, Leo. Whoa, Leo is getting Aries, or Aries-like energy. The Emperor is like that very masculine energy. The Aries, pardon me, the Aries, I don't know why, but if it's a Freudian slip, I guess it is important to kind of like see that. The Emperor talks about control and talks about stability, and the Emperor is basically the king of all kings. If you really think about it, it's again giving that this is a major arcana, a very, very important message. And also over here, you guys are going to go through a major shift, all of you. Especially when I see karma cards, I know that there is like something moving forward, because this is the card of universal justice, right? And this is a card of human justice, of somebody who kind of like needs to kind of like find a method how to kind of continue, keep going. So this is kind of like a really, really good card. Let me actually just check here for both Aries, and it's going to be really hard to stamp with what I'm doing. So waiting, but it was reversed, so it kind of like it goes with the tone of these nines of, you know, I don't think you're waiting anymore. I think it is kind of time to get to the bottom of something, and kind of like getting to know yourself is going to actually benefit everybody else for you, Aries. So I don't know if Leo is dealing with Aries, or if not, you definitely need to kind of like feel a bit more pushy. You need to feel a bit more fiery, because this is kind of like the fire, like, I mean, ultimate fire, ultimate strength, right? Because look at here in the card, you see the mountains behind, and this is like the feng shui principle where you see the mountain behind you, there is like this strong support. This also could mean, especially if you Leos are dealing something at work, that the work would be very supportive, or getting a job. This is like a really, really good card to get, especially in combination with justice. And you guys are getting this wife card here. Now this can actually also mean a marriage. Hello, is somebody getting proposed or dealing with some kind of like family things? If you guys are dating, I think you're going to be meeting somebody who will be the one, who will be not only that you will feel this romantic kind of approach, but also that you will feel, hey, this kind of like works well on the paper. And this person is going to be, and that's possibly why we also have the cups and the King of Cups and King of Pentacles here, because it's talking about, look, you know, somebody might be kind of like quiet coming through and kind of like being more like a friend and more like a soft spot for us, but then we are going to realize this person is actually very reliable and there's like something that can actually work with this. So there's like the energy for you guys that is like really, really strongly positioned here for the next week. So if you're single and you want to meet somebody, definitely go and put your profile, meet people. You really have to get off your butt to do that. Otherwise, nothing will happen. This is how it works, because again, it is the fire. You need to kind of light that fire to move forward. Okay, now, who is 1111? 1111 was like about 20 minutes ago. So next one is Sagittarians. Any Saggies over here? Any Saggies over here? Bars are not good for marriage material. I actually met my husband in basically a bar, yeah, in a nightclub, and it was just simply the way. I'm that old. How you met somebody? It was like no other way other than in school and stuff like that. Yep. Yeah. So you can meet people anywhere. You just like don't classify it that way. Of course, I get what you're saying. Yeah, you know, if you're doing this, you will be doing this when you're with me, and then I know what's going to happen. But it doesn't have to happen this way. So, Saggies. Saggies. Oh, no. Hi, Dean. I'm in the wrong deck. Saggies. 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 We have a Queen of Swords, and we have the Chariot. Interestingly enough, I think Saggies, you kind of like are again really moving forward, and you might be moving forward into singlehood. The Queen of Swords always minimizes everything. She's like really proud, and my students are going to tell you now, they just been through this lesson of tarot families and tarot personalities. There is like somebody who is very stern, but she's stern because she has been burned so many times in her life. And as Lati said, right now, you know, she knows if I go to the bar and bar always didn't help me get where I need to go, you know, I'm not going to go there. I'm just like learning this and going to tell this to everybody else. But Chariot means really kind of like conquering those dualities inside of us. It is kind of a little weird. First of all, this does belong to, I think, Libra and to Cancer, but and another major arcana, all of you fire signs are kind of like really moving forward. It's a really good card. Saggies, this is probably music to your ears. It could be some kind of travel. It could be at least something going out of your ordinary. It's going to be some kind of motion. Maybe you're kind of like tired of same old, same old. But this also can tell me, and even though this is a Cancer card, it kind of gives me a little bit of a Gemini with this kind of like duality of black and white, and which is kind of the same axis as you are. So this is kind of telling me that you're trying to reconcile. Almost like looks like you had somebody who you loved but you also hate, and it's kind of like a stuck motion, but the world is here upright, so the whole situation is being resolved, and you guys are becoming a little softer. The only thing with Chariot is like it's something that is moving forward very fast. You see, the Chariot is the boss of all knights in tarot. So knights don't really stay; they're just being sent to battle, and they kind of like being pulled back. But the kings are staying. So you guys are going to have a lesser kind of like of a staying power, and that can mean many different kind of things to some. But it also could mean that you're dealing with Libra or Aquarian or another air sign or another water sign that kind of like is maybe even trying to break free from you. But usually the Queen of Swords upright doesn't mean breakup as much as reversed. But the fact that you're having Chariot as the last one looks like even if you get a whiff of somebody kind of trying to control you, you're going to kind of like break free. That's kind of like how it looks. But let's see. Let's see. Saggies. Constancy. Kind of don't know why this came out. Constancy is really like, we see a woman with these blocks of basically building blocks. We do know that she just kind of like probably needs to kind of build this home, but there is a long process. You need strength, you need determination, right, to do that, and possibly help of the others. But she is alone, just like in the Chariot. Maybe, you know, maybe grounding would be kind of like in order over here, because that could be on the end of the road for Chariot. Let me just get one more. It's kind of like really weird card to get. And you're getting Scholar. Really, really weird, because Scholar is generally thinking, and I always want to think about you guys, Saggies. I kind of like do think you as Scholar. Scholar always talks about, you know, kind of like looking deeper in the issues, kind of like having that analytical, which kind of like could be the Chariot as well, having this kind of like deeper sense of what is going on, right? And definitely this can actually talk about crisis in a relationship. Keeps coming back to this, right? Or kind of like really need for wisdom, and really need to kind of like figure your own demons, figure out where you kind of like went wrong. And this is still a reoccurring theme. But this can also mean, because this is coming reverse, because this is saying, look, some kind of like consistency and some kind of like determination has to happen. But here indicates lack of preparation, or lack of study, or maybe overreacting, I would say, being like rude or arrogant. Oh my gosh, what can go wrong when a fire sign and air sign argue? Something like that, kind of like you see that, right? Definitely, if you guys are dealing with some kind of Libra in particular, it's going to be fire, and because I see the Libra here as well, and this is probably coming back to you. Maybe there is like this sense of universal balance, and I think the Hangman is probably coming back to you. You need to learn some kind of lesson. This was targeted to you, and this was to some extent, but to a much lesser extent, targeted to Aries. So thank you, fire sign. So let's see who is next. Who is next? Guys, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. If you like this, then that way I know that, you know, I should spend my coffee on Saturday with you. And I really appreciate it. Hi, Renata. Thank you for your comments. So lovely. Water. Okay, let it be water. Let it be water. Let me just mix these cards up. And let's start with water. Water. H2O, exactly. Water. Gatorade. Oh my gosh, that stuff. You know, when I came to Canada, and first when I saw Gatorade, like that was such a phallic bottle, I was like, oh my god, I cannot carry this out. This is like so weird, so bizarre. Like, what will people think? I was like out of my mind. How is this even possible to be on the shelf? So never ever did I go for it. I bought that kind of powder that you can actually make it yourself, but it always makes me thirsty. So yes, Aquarians have been done. So water. Messages. Ace of Pentacles reversed. Water issues. It's seeing something long term, or going into something long term, or failing to see an opportunity. That's kind of interesting. Okay, water, 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 water. All right. Water and water. Whoa, Three of Swords reversed. There's a lot of suffering here. And the Chariot reversed. Ooh, which is Cancer. And the Hermit. Water. The Lovers reversed. Oh my gosh, the Justice. And Page of Pentacles. Oh my gosh, this is really, really complex, water. You have been very suffering. You have been suffering a lot. The Lovers, I mean, we have Gemini, we have Libra. I don't know if you're dealing with, I see water signs, I see earth signs, and I see air signs over here. And I'm reading water, right? So this definitely card talks about rejection. And this card talks about rejection. This can even talk about, you know, huge breakups or even divorces that could be, like, I mean, going, and maybe even situation kind of getting derailed. Chariot we had just like right now for Saggies, but it was upright. Now it's reversed. Chariot is like really conquering your demons, right? Like, I mean, in Lovers, the archetype talks about making a choice between kind of like flesh. There is like somebody who is not committing. Somebody kind of like didn't want to commit. That's what I'm saying. Somebody kind of like wants to exit relationship or just do relationship on their own terms. So everything is kind of, the other person looks like wants to push things forward in spite of seeing things. And in this deck, the Justice is blindfolded, which kind of should mean it doesn't matter who you are, you still need to learn your lesson. But when Chariot reverses, it talks about things getting derailed, going in a ditch, not moving forward, not realizing the lesson, not realizing what kind of is the core of the issue. And that is the key over here, the key of that lesson. And I think you're going to so totally get it. It's going to be maybe starting the week with some completely off, completely, oh my gosh, what's going on, what's happening. And whenever the Justice shows up, or any of the other karma cards, then the balance is being rebalanced. And you guys are definitely coming into this balance, because you're getting both Hermit and Page of Pentacles. And Hermit is always talking about, and I don't know which sign I said, like, it's kind of like, look, he's climbing this mountain, but this is proverbial mountain, proverbial kind of like conquering your own challenges. That would be the constancy card in Gypsy, right? And Page of Pentacles is the same thing. You guys are getting more grounded, you're getting more pragmatic, you're getting more practical, what kind of works and what is doable. You're kind of like getting really, really clear on that. And this also talks about being very studious, kind of like spending time with yourself. And Page of Pentacles is kind of like a really interesting card. To me, always tells me it's either somebody very young who acts kind of old, or somebody old who acts young. It kind of like has that kind of duality inside. So I think, okay, somebody is really important outside. Don't you like when these people use the horn as if, you know, there's like nobody living in there, it's just like it's really me, me, me. Honking, that's right. So let's see, it's at least quiet, because we have not such great weather over here today. We had 90 3 days ago, and today I think probably would be, I don't know, 75, something like that, right? So water, which one is the first one? Cancer, I think. Here, Cancer, 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 Cancer. I think you guys can, if you see the red line on the bottom, and I mean, of course, it's good that you are just like right here you are, but when you see the red line on the bottom, you can actually kind of click it back, and during this live, you can actually do that. So, Cancer. Okay. Ten of Pentacles. Cancer definitely is coming twice over here. The Ten of Pentacles is very complex card. It doesn't talk only about relationships and what we want to accomplish in a relationship, but it talks about everybody involved. And this is like even more prominent for Cancer than for any other sign, because you guys really slowly integrate with someone. It's kind of like Cancer is the least, is the most possibly kind of romantic, but also very very difficult to kind of like go in a kind of like huge commitment because of the fear to be hurt, like hurt, right? So Ten of Pentacles reverse talks about there could be some kind of like home front, maybe issues with the family, maybe issues with friends, maybe you have a partner who somehow doesn't want to integrate, who wants to merge your family, sort of like things like that. But it is final stage, moving forward, so that's a good thing. And I really think you guys are going to feel the brunt of some kind of rejection, something that you maybe counted on. It's just like not going to happen. Let me see, Cancer, what is this? Why do they get this? Why did they get this Ten of Pentacles? Consolation. You know what? You're not going to get what you want, but you're going to get what you need, and you're going to realize that what you needed is like what you want, and you're going to be way more happy than whatever original solution you were seeking. So actually it's going to really end well, and this is really good. So there is like going to be the resolution of figuring things out, because I see this stabilization moving forward over here for all of you. Then who is next? Scorpio. Scorpio is getting the Moon, which is the Pisces basically card. But the Moon is kind of weird, because Moon talks about, like, I see this like two cards because she is blindfolded in this deck. Usually she's not blindfolded, even though she should be, and she's not blindfolded because she just like doesn't take any sides, right? But the Moon is definitely talking about our conscious and our subconscious, and then we have the Major over here. And it's kind of like dark place, shadowy place, when we kind of like want to move forward, but really we don't have all the information, and we kind of like are trying to really kind of like discern what is true, what is not true. But we definitely, I would advise not to do it and just like simply wait it out, which is kind of like the best advice when you kind of like see the Moon. I'm sorry guys if it's slowing down. Maybe try to refresh it. I'm seeing it as yellow on my end. Okay, let me see the Moon for Scorpio. And this is also telling me that maybe you guys are going too deep, you're thinking too much if you're getting Pisces, and Scorpio is sort of like really deep waters, and we have a Cancer in the middle, and we have Pisces on the top. So this is saying kind of like you maybe need to lighten up a little bit. So let me see this. We have Doctor reversed. Are you guys sick? Have you been sick? Have you been, I mean, of course, literally it can mean that, right? That it's kind of, it's also kind of like a confidant. This kind of card, believe it or not, especially because I see justice can mean a lawyer, right? It can represent a person or concept, right? So some kind of like maybe professional, right? So it came reversed though. It's talking about healing something from the past, Scorpio. Something that is possibly under the surface, maybe even something that you managed to repress, because this is telling me that maybe you're dealing with the person, somebody you trust, but somebody who is really not much help in a situation, and maybe can even, I don't know, hinder the kind of like resolution of the problem or disease or crisis. It's somebody, you know, it's like literally passive aggressive is this card kind of like reversed. Or maybe you could be a little bit close-minded and refusing help. I don't know. That could be also at work, because I did see work over here that oh, thank you, Dean. At work, you know, that somebody's giving you the wrong information and then kind of like pointing a finger at you. It's definitely telling me that you need to kind of reevaluate and kind of like lay a new foundation for moving forward and healing, and certainly kind of like take a whole bunch of things in consideration over here. So let's see, Pisces. Pisces. Thank you, Dean. It's going to be wonderful for my coffee. Oh, it's such a nice treat. Okay, Pisces. Oh, thank you, Laddie. Don't worry about it, but it's still like nice to see. Pisces. Whoa. Oh my gosh, now we are dealing with another karma card. So Pisces, and I think this is what I saw it in your reading yesterday for monthly. I don't know if you check your monthlies or not. This is the card of victory, but this is kind of like, to me, more than just like what they tell you about the card, because the swords are having two edges. One is cutting outside, one is cutting inside. It is like definitely huge moving forward. So I think, Pisces, you are getting like, I'm getting like the feeling that you have been through some kind of suffering about either indecision or rejection. Something kind of like went off the track, but you're getting so off the ground, you're dusting yourself off, you're like literally almost like cutting a tumor, something that has been lingering inside of you, and getting like this newfound zest. This card is like very positive. It's talk about success, but this card also talks about being shrewd and knowing, like, kind of like to cut the strings of whatever it's something keeping you with the past, with the background, with, you know, issues that could be concerning, you know, whether a relationship, or I would say you guys maybe have somebody around who is really not good for you, and you're kind of like going to probably figure out that the best is to just like let them go. Whether this means exactly physically to break up with them, or maybe you still kind of have this cord connection with someone from the past, and hence it's a need to move forward. So then I would see this Page of Pentacles in your case, kind of like, okay, you know what, let me kind of like do small steps, baby steps forward, kind of a thing. Renata, sounds like the way it is, I get knocked down but I get up again. This is a really good card for getting up again. I love to see this card in my reading. I mean, all karma cards they're always good and bad, right? Because they kind of push you forward, makes you kind of say, look, stop being sorry for yourself, stop being hurt, and you need to do something about it. It's kind of like the action in it. So let me just get what else we get for Pisces. One of these stuff, Ace of Swords, and there you go. You're getting constancy, just as I said. This Page of Pentacles kind of like has the same kind of like the same feeling, kind of like those baby steps forward, right? And there is like kind of like decision over here that needs to be made, right, in many respects, because this is talking about being reliable. Maybe you're deciding what is needed for you, what is important for you, right? And it goes without saying for you, Pisces, but loyalty and sincerity, like for you, is going to be sort of like deal breaker. You're not that way, sorry, I'm not even dealing with you any kind of like further, right, kind of a thing. This is also about a card of strength and determination, just like the combination would be well done. And if you guys are trying to go back with someone, or somebody comes back, then they're going to see that you're becoming unmovable force, and it might actually signify that things will change from that point on. But it kind of really feels like you're rebuilding your life big times, really big times. Okay, so who is this last group? The Earth, right? We still didn't do the Earth. Hello, Earth. And goodbye to Taurus's birthdays. You're now going to be replaced with Gemini. You know, always suck when your first red sign every month and then you come right to the bottom next time around. Hi Lisa, nice to see you. Okay, Latino to me, don't want him back. Good stuff. Well, you know, the worst position is like some people long for their exes to come back. Other people don't long for their exes to come back, but they still cannot shake them off. That's almost like could be even more painful, because like, oh my god, what do I do? Like, go upstairs or go downstairs? I just don't want to be where I am. It's kind of really, really weird situation. So, Earth. Finally, Earth. Finally, Earth. I want him back, but he made me go through so much. Yeah, you know, it's not supposed to be like that. And especially in a beginning of dating, if it's getting really hard, then imagine how it's going to be if you're really living with this person. Earth, Earth, Earth. Let's see. Earth, 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 Earth. We have Knight of Wands. We have the Magician reversed. Who was first? It was Air, right? That was like sort of like pulling out. And we have 3 of Wands reversed. Oh boy. And we have 8 of Swords. We have 9 of Wands. And there is like a karmic card here as well. Wheel of Fortune. It's kind of really weird. You have 1 and you have 10. Like, I mean, 2 majors. And so ones are talking about progress, about going forward, and 10 is like sort of like higher octave of this, right? It is like kind of like I can create everything, but in your case they're both reversed. So maybe some decisions would be made, and mind you, like your Earth, like I mean with Uranus in Taurus, it's not going to feel like comfortable element for the next 7 years. Because Uranus is really something that you would hate. It's like totally, you know, like, I mean, you like your comfort, you like your space, and then you get this visitor who is just leaving mess everywhere, you know, ripping things off, sitting on your sofa, cracking your bed, and it's kind of like going to be just like a nightmarish. I see here that you feel trapped in some kind of situation, or that you might feel trapped. This also can be a card of denial or of fear. Some of you may have continuing in relationships that maybe are not really designated for long term. And maybe this is why you have kind of like really consideration about that. Because 9 of Wands reversed means, you know what, it's like Lati said, look, you've been pushed me through too much. I just can't do it anymore. This is it, you know. And the 3 of Wands is basically that cards of ships and relationships, friendships, partnerships, where all of that has to be present in a quality relationship. And hence it kind of like feels, why am I feeling this way? Why am I not feeling that this can actually resolve? It's going to feel really kind of like defeated, I have to say. It's going to maybe feel that you'll have somebody in your life who will be just BSing you, who will be just like walking all over you, doing kind of like stuff, right? And it's kind of like really, really weird. Because the Magician reversed is not a good card. Here, think about a rock star who becomes a rock star just because he can get laid, right? And he tells everybody everything they want to hear. It just like lives only in this moment. I mean, living in the moment is good, but not in this way. This is just like, it's going to change, just, it's like a chameleon, literally changing, which kind of works for them, but really they don't have an essence. The Wheel of Fortune reversed is not necessarily a bad card. It does mean that, yes, currently kind of like you're in that underworld. It kind of like feels kind of like the cycle, right? It's ending. It's kind of like midnight. But it means it's starting a new cycle. It still means that from the bottom, the only way right now is to go up. So that's kind of like really interesting. Earth is shaking this time around. So that's kind of going to be really weird. Okay, so which one is first? Taurus. And happy birthday, happy belated birthday to Taurus. There are like still a couple of days. So let's see what are the individual messages. Taurus, Taurus, Taurus. The Chariot. Okay, this Chariot keeps coming out a lot today. So again, you know, Taurus seems to be like, look, I'm not dealing with this. I'm out of here. I'm kind of like moving forward. It could be kind of like really getting out of the situation, like in a kind of like productive way. Chariot is a really good card. It literally talks about, look, you know, literally like, this doesn't work for me. And if this works for you, off you go. I have a friend, and it was actually hilarious. She kind of like, she was like going on a date, right? And this guy was just oogling, you know, other women with big boobs, and she kind of like doesn't have much in that department. So she just said, look, you know, it looks like, you know, I don't have what you need, and I wish you all the best. Off I go. She just like stood up and left. And she said like he spent like, I mean, days and weeks apologizing and saying, well, it's not like that. She's like, no, this is it. Like, why would I even bother? It just like clearly, just like she was also Taurus. She is Taurus, so kind of it was really weird. It kind of like reminded me of that. So let me see this Chariot. Give me like more information for Taurus. Normal man. No, I don't think that's normal. It's kind of like would be like women looking at their package, like really how low you are, how superficial you are. Can't you not focus on where you are at? So Chariot, the Chariot. And he have surprise. Maybe something is going to come as a bad surprise. Maybe somebody is going to just going to be realization, like, because you see this fellow here, he's fishing, right? And instead of the fish, he's basically getting the money here in this kind of like his little net, right? But this is reversing, right? So it's not really overly negative card when it kind of reverses, but it's kind of suggesting that maybe hope in somebody or something was not realized, or, you know, there could be some kind of postponement or something, right? And hence maybe this is why this also can talk about short period of bad luck, just like here. But there is like definitely something that it feels like a progress in Taurus reading, right? That it feels like even though there could be delay and something is uncertain, that everything is possible, right? And kind of like not to give up on your dreams, not to give up on where you're going. So Virgo, 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 Virgo. And look at that, Virgo. You're getting message doubled. Virgo, what is it that you don't want to see? What is it that you are feeling stuck about? Because look at her. She's kind of like tied up, but she can actually, this is very loose. She can actually release it at any given point, but she doesn't really know it. And she doesn't dare to do that. It's kind of like that freeze. It's kind of like that fear and denial when we kind of really don't want to see it. You have to actually start seeing things, because it looks like somebody is selling you things and you are accepting it. It's kind of like weird. That's the conscious subconscious. On consciously, you are denying that something is happening. It's like, you know, it could be like also like the husband is cheating and everybody knows but wife, right? And then somebody finally tells wife, no, my husband would never do that. That's why you see these little wifey standing next to these politicians, which is like almost like the walk of shame, I really think. But this kind of like would be, no, this is not happening, this is not happening, where you know very well it is happening. And it has to be addressed, because suppressing it really creates this like negative turn, because like the karma is asking us to work on it. So let me see, why is this 8 of Swords there for 8 of Swords for Virgo? What is it they need to resolve? What is it they need to see? You need to look into your partner. You need to really see them for who they are. It's kind of like really interesting that you're getting the lover boy over here, right? This is somebody who is single, and if you are actually dealing, if you're in a relationships, right, then kind of like would be kind of like a little bit worrisome that somebody kind of like behaves this way. This is kind of like definitely boyfriend, lover, husband, right? And you kind of like really need to see if this is the perfect companion, if this is like somebody who is honest and generous, and somebody who is actually really a collaborator, because here you're feeling like there is like a lack of that, and this is kind of like really important. By the way, if there is like an issue about your health here, because like this card also means kind of like young doctor, by the way, or therapist, somebody kind of like giving a new hope and a new confidence. So it could be that some of you might be going through therapy and kind of like getting a resolve on this. And sometimes when people feel in therapy that therapy is like taking a downturn, it is like really when you're really close to breakthrough, and like it's kind of like really the wrong time to stop. So let me see, who is the last one? Capricorn. Capricorn, you're last today. Capricorn. And Capricorn. And look at this, you have the Justice reversed. Whew. This basically talks about, well, Justice reversed again, like it's going to be a really tough week. Like for all Earth other than Taurus is going to sort of like take a bull by its horns. I see here when Justice reverses, it actually talks about divorces, talks about breakups, talks about, you see here, she's not blind. When Justice reverses and she kind of like has this like justice, scale of justice, it talks about that something, you will probably feel violated, you will feel things are really not going in your favor. But also, we tend to like to take justice in our own hands when something like this happens, and we strike back. But the truth is, it also could be involvement of Libra. That's another major over here. But the truth is, like justice, universal justice always gets served. And if you take it in your hands, then you are getting negative brownie points, negative karma points. So it's kind of like really, honestly, what I would say, just lay low. And it's just like this guy, just lay low, wait for this kind of like to pass, because it's only a week. Let me just like see this justice for Capricorn. Why is this justice reversed for Capricorn here? What is important for them to know? And then you have this wanting, waiting over here. How is this relating over here? Justice and waiting for the justice. Or maybe you kind of like are feeling like, hey, certain things should be happening and I have been suffering for too long, right? This is like also telling me that you're waiting unnecessarily. You see, like they're not waiting, the Taurus is just moving forward. This is definitely telling me about if you guys looking for a new job, that kind of like indicates that kind of waiting. But it also can mean that if you're waiting for a loved one to return or something to resolve, that this is telling that it's basically pointless and it's not going to take place. And this would make sense. Somebody is just there for their own pleasure, for their own needs, right? This is also indicated interruption or breakup with someone. And I'm really sorry to say this, but whenever Justice card shows up, it always talks about this is really working in your karmic best interest. Like, I mean, these two karmic cards are really affecting Capricorn the most. So unfortunately, Earth was not the Earth is going to have a little bit heavier lessons right now, but that doesn't really surprise me much. And also, these are like very much those air cards with Uranus entering your sign. So now I think everybody's going to hate Aquarians a little bit less when you realize what kind of like planet, you know, you have to deal with and who is your boss. So this is me today. It was like so lovely to see you, everybody. Please give me a thumbs up if you haven't already, and please stamp. I really appreciate that. And until the next time, I wish you, everybody, all the best and have a wonderful weekend. Okay, have a good one.